after
if we don't get all those Afghans who stepped up to the plate to help us out, then Joe Biden, in my view, has committed a high crime and misdemeanor under the Constitution and should be impeached.
Well, Senator, you know, you've heard Joe Biden. He's had some whoppers in the last couple of days. When he was talking to George Stephanopoulos, he said, and nobody said we should keep 2,500 troops over there. But according to the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post, his top leaders said, leave a residual force, and that will keep the lid on this thing. But he said, no, I'm going to do it my way.
Well, he did the same thing in Iraq. Joe Biden has been a wrecking ball regarding foreign policy and national security for 40 years. He was told by our military, we need a residual force on the ground. I told President Trump this, if you take all of our troops out, the Taliban will take over, and the Taliban will align with al-Qaeda, and we'll have another 9/11. You cannot protect America with everybody out. A residual force is necessary. It was an insurance policy against 9/11. The CIA in Coast, the military in Bagram, was an insurance policy against another 9/11, and Joe Biden canceled that insurance policy against sound military advice. I will say again, if he does not get every American citizen out, if he doesn't get those who fought bravely along our side, the Afghans out, he's committed a high crime or misdemeanor of dereliction of duty. Any military commander would be court-martialed for leaving our people behind, and I think the commander-in-chief owes it to every American citizen and owes it to the Afghans who fought along our side to get them out, because if we leave them behind, they're going to get slaughtered.
Absolutely. You know, after he did that interview with George Stephanopoulos, where, you know, he said a number of things. The Washington Post has got a story this morning, 4 big mistakes he made in that particular interview, including apparently the commander-in-chief doesn't know he's got 1,000 guys over in Syria. but nonetheless, you know, he had canceled all of his public statements as of yesterday. And now suddenly, I think 1 o'clock this afternoon, he's going to have remarks from the White House. Clearly, it's hit the fan. You know, this is a poll-driven White House. They're looking at the polls. People are going, okay, maybe we wanted to get out of there, but we didn't want to get out of there like this.
Well, I can tell you, to those who want to leave Afghanistan, we're blind and naked when it comes to a potential another 9/11. It is imperative we have Americans on the ground protecting American interests. Are we going to really trust the Taliban to take care of our interests in Afghanistan? We could have done this with a very small residual force of special forces types, CIA types, making sure that the al-Qaeda never hits us again. We had an insurance policy against another 9/11. Joe Biden canceled it. He's done 2 things. He's made it harder for America to get allies in the future, because we're going to abandon those Afghans who helped us.
Right.
And quite frankly, he's made another 9/11 tenfold more likely by withdrawing everybody. President Trump left troops on the ground as an insurance policy against another 9/11. The French and the British are willing to go into Afghanistan to get their people out. I would urge President Biden to do joint military operations with a coalition of the willing, so when we get everybody out who deserves to be taken out.
Well, Senator, into our newsroom just in the last 5 minutes, we've gotten an interview with an Afghan interpreter who is holed up somewhere in Kabul. and
Yeah.
needs to get past the Taliban. And he can't because there's 1,000 people in razor wire.
Right.
And he says, you know, I wish I never would have worked with the United States of America.
Yeah,
and that will be the legacy of this particular surrender, withdrawal, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, what would get him through that checkpoint if the Taliban believed the United States would be willing to use all of its military might in this endeavor? Again, we're duty-bound to get Americans out. We're honor-bound to get Afghans out. And if I were President of the United States, I'd be working with our allies to come up with a military evacuation plan, ensuring that all of our citizens get out and those who helped us in our time of need get out. And here's what I think. That's not going to happen. I think the military is not going to go beyond the air base and the airport. I think that's a huge mistake. I think we're going to leave thousands of Afghans behind and most likely some American citizens because we don't have the will to impose on the Taliban an evacuation plan in our interest. And I do believe, and I don't say this lightly, if Joe Biden does this, if he leaves a bunch of people behind who helped us, he deserves to be impeached. That would be a high crime and misdemeanor under our Constitution. Joe needs to go if he does this.
Well, you know, somebody else who's really steamed at him is NATO. Because with the unilateral movement of the United States, and we're going to pull the plug on it, suddenly those people are scrambling to get their people out. And that's why, to your point earlier, that's why the British and the French said, to hell with the United States, we're going to go get them. They went into the green zone, they got the people, they put them on airplanes, boom, they're safe.
Well, Steve, let's look at this. Never get to the left of the French. If the French are willing to use military force to get their people out, if the British are willing to do it, we should join the effort. Why not a joint coalition of the willing effort to get everybody out who honorably served along our side? I've been in Afghanistan probably 20 or 30 times. I served as a reservist. The translators and the interpreters and the people who helped us with the rule of law, I know them. They deserve to be brought out. We're honor bound to do this. If we do not do this, it is a stain on our honor. And I will tell you this, if you ask our military tomorrow, we're looking for volunteers